Last week I did a video talking about kind of my frustration, and I recorded it after I just finished work. And I just kind of reached this point where some of my old beliefs, all of my old kind of ways of being had kind of started to creep in. And I wasn't feeling very good in my body, in my mind, and I was really fed up with the amount of work that I was doing. And of course, I was working quite a lot towards things that I didn't really believe in. But since I had kind of switched my mindset from seeing it as a necessity for me to take the next step forward, it was kind of becoming more and more of a burden. And the way that you think of something, the mindset that you have going into something really affects how well you do something or whatever you're doing. And it's just a reality of life that we have to be working to earn money to be able to live, and if you don't have the skills to earn money in the way that you want to, or earn enough money, then you've just got to work with whatever you've got. And it's gonna be hard, but unless you want to be broke and underfed and living in a shit, unideal situation, then then you got to work. And I realized that I was like, if I want to continue eating healthy, if I want to continue, I've still got other things I want to buy for my health. I want to buy a water filter. I want to buy an air filter, because these little things kind of add up and affect your health quite a bit. And I also want to buy more local produce, because I've just been going to the supermarket Woolworths because it was just convenient, and I realized I don't even believe in the things that they do, and they're just profiting off of fake food, and they don't even give a shit about your health. A lot of the food is probably, even the vegetables is probably filled with pesticides and stuff, and even if you wash it, it's been grown with that, so it's kind of inside of it. It's it's grown with those pesticides or whatever. And even if it says organic, if you go deep into it, you can kind of see the range for organic is this, or the requirements for it is this. It's like the egg thing where they can say that it's free range, but then they end up caging them off and then let them roam in that free range for only a couple hours, which is kind of ridiculous. They can just completely lie to our faces. And if I want to make a change, then I've got to start becoming aware of the choices that I make and the impact of my choices, and have responsibility for that, and also to share it. If I'm saying that I want to do these things but not actually acting them, this is where I come in talking about how your words and your actions are a big difference. Words are basically useless when you think about them. They're good for trying to convey ideas, they're trying to get across things. But as I was saying, if I'm not acting the way that I say that I am, then my words don't mean shit. I'm just pissing in the wind. And this sounds very extreme. I wouldn't have had this mindset. I would have been words can kind of get across things, and they feel nice or whatever, and they can really empower and motivate you. But I have very high standards, and when you really think about words, what is the point of having conversations and talking and conversing about things that you don't actually do, that you don't actually have an impact on? Do you want to be spending your time talking about shit that doesn't matter? Do you want to be saying these things rather than doing things? It really frustrates me how so many people are able to talk about being healthy, or being fit or whatever, or saying body positivity, or even getting into political stuff. And it's well, what are you actually doing to do about that? You can talk about these things, but if you aren't showing the results, if people don't look at you and think, oh yeah, you look like you actually know what you're saying, then your words don't really mean much. And that's just kind of a brutal reality, really. It's basically this scientist that is always talking about this experiment, this hypothesis that he has. I have this hypothesis that this thing is going to completely change your life, and it's the one thing that is absolutely amazing. And he keeps talking about how great it is and tells it to everyone, but then he never actually does the experiment to test the hypothesis and prove that it's true. Another reality that I've kind of come to is that animals do not rest. They're always working, they're always doing something. Of course, they're not working in the same capacity that we have to. And I definitely think that the modern society and the jobs that we have are not very natural. They're very kind of artificial and like very kind of bad for our body and our nervous system. Like it feels really draining to be doing these things. And to create the life that you want, you've got to be working on top of doing this job to be supplying and feeding yourself and having shelter, etc., etc. And that's just the harsh reality of this stage, you know, because it's really frustrating, and it's why so many people stay in this stage, and why so many people just end up drinking or going to drugs or just continuing playing video games or watching movies, TV shows, that kind of thing. You're just getting caught up in the nonsense and drama of that, because that numbs a part of ourselves. That kind of makes us feel okay. It's like, oh, I've got the weekend to rest. Oh, now I've finished work so I can like rest and like just enjoy myself, because I deserve to enjoy myself because I've been working so hard. But then you realize that you don't really feel great. Work feels even worse. And it's just a really bad place to be in. And I'm lucky enough to have experienced what it's like to be healthier and to be disciplined and to see the results in that. And it takes a lot of time, and the first steps to getting out of it are very, very hard. And I've had to do this time and time again. Like I keep falling back into my old habits so many times over so many years. Like it was probably about 14 when I was like coming onto these ideas of discipline and of doing stuff and of training. And sure, I'd be kind of consistent for weeks or something, but then I would come back to my old habits because they'd been so ingrained in me to avoid things, to do what other people wanted me to do rather than what I wanted to do, because I didn't have confidence in myself, because I had not acted on my own intuition, on my own thought processes, and then gained the confidence through doing that action and backing up myself and learning if I failed. Like if I completely fell on my face, then I would have learned something, you know. And those failures are opportunities for you to grow and evolve, not rather than just coming back to your own old habits. And as I've said, I've struggled with this over years. Like some people just seem to be able to flick the switch, and then it's like, oh, I was completely living like a degenerate. I was living like this, and then all of a sudden my life kind of changed. You know, like the kind of Hamza or David Goggins kind of story. And my story has not been that at all. It's just been struggle after struggle, doubt after doubt. It's been having moments of consistency, of feeling so great for training for soccer, for working out, for building muscle, eating healthier, having a clean environment, and then all of a sudden falling back and then just spending the whole day just binge gaming videos and eating whatever junk I felt like to kind of numb myself and make myself feel okay. And just waking up the last minute before I had to go to work, and then just chucking on some clothes, going to work, slogging through it, and then being so excited to come back and just play video games or watch a movie or TV show or whatever. And for me, that was life, and it's not a great life to have, honestly. Like if you've been there, if you're in there, it sucks. And you know, this morning I did not want to get up. I just wanted to stay in bed. And then when I did get up, I was just like, oh, I just want to watch Dragon Ball. I do not want to have to draw. I don't want to have to meditate. I do not want to take a cold shower. But once I got up and then I just started doing those things, and I was just like, all right, just do the next thing. Just go and do it. Then all of a sudden you kind of build this momentum, and then you kind of feel better for it. And as I said, I was lucky that I had experienced being healthy in these times and periods of being healthy, of being disciplined. And it's hard to kind of just reach out when you're in this bad state and you're just like, well, I'm already suffering, so why would I put more suffering on myself? And if you're if you're chasing pleasure, then you're suffering for no reason, because you're bringing in the pleasure from your future and bringing it into now to make yourself feel better now, but you're adding the suffering to later. You are delaying it to a later time, and that's just going to keep building up and keep adding up, and then make you want to escape even more. So if you do the opposite and you bring some of that suffering in and you sit in it and you act regardless of how you feel, and you just notice how you feel and then act, see what you can do, then you start to feel better later on, and it makes your future a bit easier because you're not off-putting things and adding more and more things for your future self. I think working out was one of the biggest impacts of my life. Like starting to lift weights and realize that I could change my body, I could become stronger, and that I didn't have to be basically a weakling, or as Chris Bumstead puts it, a skinny little bitch. And that was really empowering for me to see. I think I've said enough for this video. Going forward, I'm going to try and add some different things rather than me just speaking here, and see how that goes. Anyway, thank you for watching. Also, I've started using my Instagram again, but I'm not following anyone, I'm not using it to scroll or anything. I only upload the things that I've done in my day. At the end of the day, just upload it and then I get off of it, because honestly it's just a poison. But for me, it's an accountability tool. It's a way that, oh, if I'm putting this out onto the world, then I've got to show what I'm doing, and I've got to be, not only do I have to be honest about it, but I've got to be honest with myself. And I just found that having kind of an external source of accountability, like it's external source, like it's based on other people could be seeing it, but it's my life and I'm choosing what I want to do, and I'm choosing to put that out there, and then be open to the criticism and any of the comments or whatever. And yeah, I think in my life, like I've just also always tried to be a perfectionist, having these high standards, and I've found that I get more progress from just committing to something day after day and trying to have this consistency. Like I've said so many times before, I could have been so much further along if I'd just been consistent with it. And that means just showing up every day, even if it's just like a couple push-ups rather than a full workout, even if it's just like taking a couple minutes to take a few deep breaths to kind of relax and calm myself before doing something. And, you know, especially with having so much work and all these obligations, you know, sometimes it's easy just to skip it, but I think it's better to at least continue the momentum and at least get a little bit done in than to try to do too much or not do it at all. Because really consistency is king, and once you start building on these things and continue ingraining the pathways in your brain, it makes it easier and easier to do these actions and to continue and follow through. Anyway, I think that's gone on quite long enough, so I didn't really have an idea or a topic for this video, it just kind of came out. Anyway, thank you for watching if you did, and I'll see you in the next video.